good evening to you. Yet another webinar series, of course, but it's with Apit family. So we have our guest speaker for the day today, Mr. Wasantha Heenatigala. Let me not give further instructions of the information about him. Of course, instructions for you to find out details because we have Dr. Rohantha who would actually let you know why is he joining us today and on what basis. And what is the importance of the discussion today? Because we have been going into different platforms and different topics. So it will be very important that if we can always get to know this information. So before we go there, let me give all of you a warm welcome on behalf of Apit family. And thank you very much for joining us. And dear students, it will be amazing if you can get the best out of this session. Mr. Wasantha is amazingly available to provide all the concerns and all the interests that you would have. Of course, provide support with that. So with that, we have our chairman, Mr. Bandula Egodage, who would like to say a few words, and then with that, we can start for the day. Chairman, over to you.
Thank you, Kaushali. Hello, Wasantha. First of all, on behalf of CEO Roshan Egodage, all the staff members, board of directors, current APIT students, very warmly welcome you here. Really, Wasantha, thank you very much. All our students are waiting to listen to you, hear you, to get some experience because of many reasons we have within APIT. So, as you all know that APIT is known for quality education. We want to enhance that quality side further. And within APIT, we inspire people, students for love for learning. And main objective is to be leaders for the society. And we need to develop leadership skills in our student population. More than that, we request all our students to follow a lot of leaders here so they can absorb all leadership skills very easily. Practical experience and sharing experience, people like you, how you have begun and how you have, where are you today, and what sort of leadership skills that you have, where our people can take easily. That's the objective of this meeting. So, in spite of busy schedule, I know that during the pandemic time that you as a CEO, you have many other priorities, but in the same time, I know you have the willingness to share your thoughts with the next generation or maybe the future generation, the produced by APIT. So further take more time from your valuable time and let me allow you to express your views and share all these things. In fact, I'm joining you as usual, right, Kaushali? I'm joining him or Dr. Rohantha at the last as the last question. So
of course,
yeah. So Wasantha, over to you. I mean, Dr. Rohantha, over to you to continue with your program. All the very best. Wasantha, waiting for you. Thank you.
Thanks, Chairman. Thank you so much. Yeah, let me just introduce my guest for today. He's the Managing Director, CEO of Akzo Nobel Paints, the Dulux company for Sri Lanka and Maldives. Wasantha has over 25 years of general management, marketing, sales experience in top multinational companies like Reckitt Benckiser, the John Keells, the Holdings, Lafarge, Brewery, and then, of course, now at Akzo Nobel. He has held key positions in general management, strategy, consumer and customer marketing, retail, professional sales operations, channel management, and integrated business planning. He has B2B and B2C expertise across different sectors like health and personal care, pharmaceuticals, carbonated soft drink, beer, roofing solutions. And he also MBA from the University of Wales, UK, a postgraduate diploma in marketing by the Chartered Institute of Marketing, UK, diploma in management by the Open University, and is a certified management accountant, Australia. He loves reading. He has an affinity towards inspirational biographies, leadership, business, turnaround brands. And I just thought, Wasantha, it's really an honor to introduce you because if you look at the speakers we have had before, yesterday we had the ambassador to be in China, Dr. Palitha Kohonage, and then we had before that the managing director and CEO of Nestle. Then we had the ambassador to the UK, And then we had the ambassador to Singapore. Next week we are having, outstanding personalities like the CEO of Unilever. So it's fantastic to have you on that same panel, Wasantha. And I just thought I will read to you some comments on the Facebook, which I put. I don't know whether you saw it. Laksiri Vikramage puts a thumbs up. Vice Chair of Dherana. Graham Marshall, the former CEO of CIC, says, fantastic, the best to you, Wasantha. A sharp mind and a humble human being is a great combination. Then we have a former secretary to the managing director at Reckitt, Pearl, who says, very happy for you, Wasantha. I can go on telling. Thilan, the head of Ceylon Bank, says, an amazing journey of perseverance and success, and lovely human being with great qualities. So, it's fantastic, Wasantha, for you to be here. And we like to listen to you about your experience of how you're going to manage performance in this pandemic time. So thank you very much, and over to you.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you so much. And what a nice introduction. I never expected such a long introduction, Doctor. Thank you so much. You have given a lot of publicity during the last couple of days. There were a lot of people calling me and asking me the link to join. And I said, Dr. Rohantha is the right person to contact for this. Otherwise, you can directly come through APIT and so on. Thank you so much. And it's a nice privilege for me to speak to this set of people at APIT. Again, for everybody who organized this event, the webinar from APIT point of view, a lot of hard work from your side. Thank you so much for doing all this coordination work. With that, I will move on to my topic, which is something I think is very useful in today's context. I wanted to start this by saying it's a winning formula that I have used at Akzo Nobel. When I say Akzo Nobel, probably you may not know what this company is. We are actually known as Dulux in Sri Lanka. So being the managing director of this company, I went through difficult times maybe during last 4 or 5 years time. So I gathered some of the experiences which I thought of sharing with you, particularly the people who are going to take over leadership positions in the future. So you are the future leaders. Obviously, I thought at least one or two people who are joining this discussion today could learn something out of this session, that would be my achievement. Thank you so much. Let's now look at what this winning formula is all about. See, I hope you can see my screen. If I go to this slide, okay, what do you mean by overall organizational performance? Now, this is not the formula I'm going to talk about. This is something that we all are trying to achieve in our organizations. Powerful performance and the organizational health. These are all talked about. We know what this is. We all have what you call powerful, or what you mean by powerful organization. Some people might say to get share, it can be revenue growth, it can be a profitable growth, it can be something. It's based on your organization. You will have you will set what you want to achieve as powerful. But also, you can't just achieve without organizational health. When you have the nice combination between powerful performance as well as organizational health, those companies are sustainable. Example, what you mean by organizational health here is that it's the health of the people. It is not the biological health I'm talking about. It's the health of the overall teams in terms of the leadership that we extend for our people in the organizations, the direction that we give, the accountability that they have to take, the motivation level, the capability, work environment, and all these when taken together, we give an index for them. We call it organizational health. Now, if the organizational health is disturbed, you can't have a sustainable performance from year to year. That's where the problem is. You may have seen successful companies in the world. For example, they perform 1 year and the next year again they fail. Also, there are companies in the world which has completely driven on this platform what I talk about. One classic example is Google. Can you imagine a company like Google? They can't even think of, we can't even think of a competitor for them for next 20 years, isn't it? That's a fact. Similarly, their organizational health, the people are very much driven towards the overall organizational performance. That's the combination what we are all trying to achieve. See, in our organization also, I actually wanted to drive towards this kind of a platform. Meaning, when I took over, I had a lot of issues faced in 2016, which I thought of sharing with you, and also to show you how I overcome. And also, this becomes a learning for all the new upcoming leaders. So that's the story of the day. So when I took over as the CEO of the company of Akzo Nobel in Sri Lanka, I faced a lot of issues in 2016 where people were over-promising but under-deliver. Meaning, at the end of the day, if you have a target given for the sales team, for example, they would say, okay, boss, we'll do the target. By the end of the day, they say, oh, they can't. And you miss the target. You set the target for 100, achieve about 70%. You continuously do that. This becomes a behavior of the people. But the issue is you need to understand why it is happening. Most of the companies will face this issue where they give wrong commitment and finally under-deliver. What happens? The trust is broken, isn't it? You don't trust that person anymore. When somebody says, no, I'm going to deliver this and I'm not going to deliver it because it's going to be a false commitment. That's the problem. We had a situation where 40% of our revenue came during the last 5 working days. Imagine what a chaos that is. It's a lot of pressure for supply chain, for all the function. It's not a very healthy situation for an organization. Why is that? It's because people behavior is very different. This is not what we expect from an organization. So similarly, there are a lot of violations within the teams which are unexpected. Example, when we organized company outings, how many people are willing to come, willing to join and enjoy the session? They come because it's mandatory, because it's compulsory. How many people would really want to make some good times out of it? But really, when you go into the details, you suddenly find about 30% of the people don't want to join actually. That's my experience. Maybe because of their other commitments, maybe family commitment, maybe some other commitment. Because they think coming for an organization's functions just to have a drink and listen to some music and run away is a waste of time. And company would spend about $3-4 million for that night. Unwanted expenses for the organization. What do you achieve as an organization? Now we do all these things, but we also experience people don't commit to the expectations. That's a problem. And then also you feel very unproductive tensions. People have the frictions among the organizations, different functions. Sales will have a friction with marketing. Marketing will have friction with someone else. It's a chaos sometimes. Also, you would see it's a very practical experience. If I say finance function is the most hated function, isn't it? In our organizations. Why is that? It's because there is some misunderstanding. There is no trust built between the functions. So when you have an environment like that, your performance gets affected, badly get affected. So it then leads to other symptoms like people spinning the truth for their own advantage. Mistakes are covered. And so they will say, no, this is not my fault. It is marketing problem. Supply chain might say, no, it's nothing to do with me, someone else. A lot of issues would come. I have actually faced some of those things in my organization in 2016. What I thought was, what do people do when you face such issues? It can be finding fault, blame, punish, your cut incentives, transfers. It can be even the very dangerous stuff you might you might do. For example, disturbing their psychological safety, which is not very good at all, where we push the people to find another job and go, because when we see that people are not aligned to the organization, then these are the things what we will do. These are the things that most of us would try to do, at least, isn't it? This is what we experience. But finally, you can't run organization with this level of leadership. It's impossible. What you expect results will be very different. What you see is on the screen today is a different thing, where Albert Einstein said, if you always do what you always did, you will always get what you always got, isn't it? Why are you doing MBA today? It's because you want to do something better in the future. So you have changed your normal behavior, expecting a better result. That's what you do right now, isn't it? Similarly, in our organization, if you keep on doing the same thing over and over again, what happens is you will expect the same results that you used to get. That's the problem. But if you want to do and expect a better results, you got to do something very different. So similarly, based on this, I just thought of doing something different within the organization to drive our performance, to find solutions for the issues that I faced. Recently, maybe during the same time, I had the opportunity of reading a book. I think it's a book recommended for all of the students who are joining with me today. The title of the book is The Speed of Trust by Stefan Covey. He talks about 13 trust behaviors. What he says is that if you build certain behaviors of the people within the organization, your speed of the organization is much faster than anyone else. So out of the 13 behaviors, what hit me really hard during that time was 2 behaviors that I thought of using within my organization. It is the confront reality, meaning why do people behave like that? I want to understand the reasons, the reality, the ground rules. People don't just behave. If they are actually masking some issue just to get rid of your punishments and so on, then you are not actually addressing the real insights that the person is facing. Now, what I did was that I really wanted to change the culture of the organization, where I asked the people to bring the real brutal truth on the table, so that the insights can be generated based on those brutal truth. Unfortunately, the leaders, particularly at our level, are not willing to listen to the bad story, right? Isn't it? We don't want to, because why do we want to go through unwanted issues? Life is better without problems, isn't it? So rather, if you listen to the people, then the brutal truth will give you the real insight. I'll give you 2 examples. One is that there was a guy who used to work with me. He never wanted to attend company functions in the evening. After 6 o'clock, he wanted to be at home. My initial reaction to him was that I thought, I don't want this guy in my team. There were about 10-15 of people who were actually having the same behavior. I thought they are not aligned to the company journey. So those people are not needed. They should be taken out from the system. That was my initial thinking. So purposely, after looking at creating a new culture, I just wanted to listen to the people and understand why these people are behaving like this. So I created a situation, speak to some of these people, and really understood that this person that I'm taking, has got a baby who is 2 years old. His wife had so many miscarriages in the past. They were waiting for a baby, finally blessed with a boy. Now he is 2 years old. Now his son, who is 2 years old, won't sleep without the father. His wife is not in a position to support the home front in the evenings, because she's tired after doing a lot of work during the day. Imagine if I sacked the fellow, how do you feel? Is that the leadership that we expect? So now it shows me something. It showed me a different area which people didn't want to look at. So I thought, what's the point of organizing company events when the people are having a lot of other issues like that? So I changed the way that we used to do things. I still do company events, but I never make it compulsory. They can come if they want to. But only thing is, I also thought the company functions that we organize have to be different than what we experienced before. So then people will find a reason to come. They don't want to miss out of this. This is what I created. What example if I give you? Recently, we organized a CSR program in Anuradhapura. I said it's not compulsory. Anybody who wants to join can join. That's it. There were about 35 people. We got the luxury bus. We took them one day CSR. I told the people to finish off the work by 1 o'clock so that they were ready to come back. On the way back, I took them for a safari. I had pre-booked about 10, 15 the jeeps, safari jeeps in Vilpattu. So it was a very well experience. It's a different exposure experience for the people. Similarly, another event that was taken place maybe about a couple of months ago, we did another event in Monaragala. On the way back, I took them to Alla, where I gave them the opportunity of using the all-terrain vehicles, the ATV vehicles, where you have to spend about $5,000 an hour for 45 minutes or something, and a lot of adventurous events that which was not expected. So now the people within the organization thinks if we organize something, it is a different experience. So now people don't want to miss any one of those. They will find some reason, they will manage their personal issues somehow, but still they will try to come. So what did we do? We did things differently, which is in line with the people. Now the people who are very mediocre performers are the best in class performers. They are the best fans of mine actually. Because of them, we run the company. Why is that? It's because we support listening to the brutal truth of the people. So I told them even within the organization, it is very important to demonstrate this behavior from our line managers. They all have to do that. For example, letting people to tell the brutal truth and bringing it on the table for discussion was a must. Otherwise, you don't know what's happening. Also, we said, we will confront the reality. It is not the person who brought the reality on the table. Our problem in most of the organization is that when somebody brings a brutal truth, we have a very negative attention, negative idea about it. It's not right because negative perceptions are created. Therefore, people don't bring the brutal truth on the table. They don't want to come out with things like that. When they see that, okay, the management is willing to listen and find solutions for the future of the company as well as for the employees, then they start bringing the brutal truth on the table. I think thereby we change a lot of things within the organization. Our processes, our systems, our procedures, how we work, how we conduct our meetings, how we, all the things were changed. Also, I wanted all my direct reports to me to show the empathy and demonstrate respect for the people, their employees. We have to genuinely care. What happens is today, what do you see? It's a fake caring, isn't it? But if you genuinely show it, people will see it. See, they can see the fake caring is very well seen today. People are not idiots. People are not idiots. They are very intelligent today. They have their senses. They will see whether it's absolutely caring or it's a fake caring. They will know that. Based on that, they will decide whether to respect you or not. Very simple. So based on these things, I created a different culture which helped me to drive performance of the organization. But only thing is, this is a very difficult thing. You may have seen this picture, what you see on the screen. This was published in Harvard Business Review in LinkedIn, maybe about a couple of months ago, which I took a picture. This is what you want to do. You are still the lion at the end of the day. You are the functional head. You may be the CEO of the company, but still you need to create a situation where people come to you with brutal truth. It's a difficult thing to do. It's your attitude, it's your personality. But it doesn't mean that you run away from your lion status to something else. It's not what I mean. You are still the lion, but you create a situation for people to bring you the truth. But there is a problem in this. Meaning, if you keep on doing this, what happens is people will think, hey, my boss is now is ready to listen to us. But so I can get away from the problem. If that is the message that you pass as, then you are not a lion. This is where you show the lion status. Meaning, if somebody brings a brutal truth, you have to know how do you deal with that. Brutal truth can be brought on the table positively and negatively. Example, a salesperson might come and tell you, boss, I can't do the target in this month because there is a huge, let's say some competition in the marketplace. I can't do, I'm sorry. This is negative image of brutal truth. But instead, if the person comes and tell you, hey, boss, I have a problem. There is a threat in the marketplace. I have the difficulty of achieving 100%, but I'm 100% sure that I will do 90% of the target. But I'm trying to do that 10%, which is the gap that I'm going to fill. How I'm going to do is these things. What do you think? How do you respect that? You will respect that person because he knows what's happening in the ground. So you create positive image on that person. Now for that, the things won't just happen. You need to build your people with these competencies. If the people are not talented, if the people do not have the right attitude and skills and knowledge and the style of communication, then they can't achieve this. They will always bring the brutal truth, but finally they will say they are the most negative people in the organization. You don't want to be a negatively seen person. You don't, isn't it? You want to see you as a person who is very positive. So bring the positive story in a manner that all others would be convinced. That's the talent of the people that you have to develop over a period of time. This will take about 1 year or two maximum to build your own team to how to do things. Now in my company, I don't let anybody to come to me with a problem. I have told them to bring the problem with a solution. Otherwise, what happens is this: you will start carrying the monkeys on your shoulder, meaning you will do whatever the things your other subordinates are supposed to do, isn't it? It gives you a lot of stress. Isn't it better to drive the competency, to build the competency of your people on how to deal with the problems? That's what you should do, so that you can start looking at the bigger picture of the organization. Where do I take this company forward from now within next 5 years' time? That's what that's what our thinking should be. As the leaders, as the functional heads, as the CEOs, that's what we should be doing. We shouldn't be doing someone else's job. Example, imagine your manufacturing head coming out to you saying, boss, I have a problem with 10% wastage in my manufacturing. If you say, and I want to do something about it. If my response to him is that, okay, why don't you just do a paper for the board of directors? I'll get some approval and come back to you. I am taking his monkey. I'm taking his problem on my shoulder. Why should I? He should be capable enough to handle his problem. So what I should do is that ideally this person, I expect him to come and say, boss, I have a problem. 10% wastage. I looked at these things, adjusted and tried to do everything possible the way I can. These are the results, but going forward, I need an investment. Therefore, these are the 1 or 2 alternatives I have. Either I increase my capacity, I increase my, there can be alternatives. Out of the 3 alternatives, I would suggest to go for this. How is your reaction for that? Isn't it a positive image? So you need to build a culture like that for people to bring out the brutal truth with the solutions. Otherwise, you're going to have a miserable life. You will not have a life to sleep in the night. Why are you doing someone else's job? I'm not here to do someone else's job. They are paid to do something. They're paid to do something. That's a job given to them. But as a leader, we have to see whether the person is right in handling this. That's the competency side of the story. Finally, it's the CEO or the head of the function who has to take the extreme ownership of the performance of your organization or your on your own function. It's the way you handle. It's up to you. You can't say it's not my responsibility. No way. Can I go and say if the sales volumes or my profitability is down for last 6 months? Can I go and tell my colleagues in Singapore, BUT directors, saying that my team is not right? They have not performed. My sales team was not going for the targets. They are lacking these competencies. I think there is a problem with the team. We have to change these people. If that is what, you are not a right leader. You have to go and tell the BU team or your board of directors, hey, company profitability has been screwed up. I'm sorry about it. This is where the lion in you comes. You can tell them, boldly tell them on the brutal truth point of view, this is the real issue that we face. But you don't have to be worried about it. These are my solutions. So similarly, you have to get your people to think like that. See, since most of your academics, I would recommend this book, what you call Extreme Ownership, written and published very recently. It's called Extreme Responsibility for your own function. You can't say someone is not right, someone is. It's your problem. If your team is not delivering, who's responsible? You are responsible. No one else is responsible for that. Meaning, if the people are not right, you have to build the competency, bring the right attitudes into them. You have to build your team. If not, if the people are not aligned, let them go. Who cares? Finally, you are the one who is responsible for your performance, isn't it? So you have finally 3 areas to learn from this short video. First is that you have to bring the brutal truth as a part of your culture, Otherwise, you will make wrong strategy based on wrong insights that you pick. Imagine all your money will be then spent behind a wrong strategy and finally end up with disastrous performance. And then you go and find reasons where it went wrong. By that time, the boat is gone. Wrong thing. So first principle is that let the people to come out with the brutal truth, no matter what it is. Second thing is that you got to develop your people. Otherwise, what happens is you will have the monkeys on your shoulder. You're doing someone else's job. Your job is not that. You build the company for the future. You think of that. Reserve time for that. Thirdly, it's extreme responsibility. It is as a functional head, as a CEO, whoever it is. You are given a job. It is your ultimate responsibility. You can't say my team has done that and so on. No? So that's the story today. In very short, I think I would urge you to read these couple of books as well. Please read the Trust Behaviors written by Stefan Covey. I'm sure you will really like it, as well as Extreme Ownership, the book. I always give a couple of books for you to read. Generally, people are not in agreement to read nowadays, but give a try. I think that's what the story from my side. I'm sure you try this out with 1 or 2 people. You will see the results. Thank you, Doctor. Is there anything else that you would like to clarify?
Thank you, Wasantha.
Yeah.
Thank you, Wasantha. It was, I think, very interesting. I was just actually making my notes when you were talking. Can you tell us a little bit about your early life at school and how you embarked on your career? Can the people, because all the youngsters are waiting to hear your story.
Yeah, okay. But one warning, Doctor. I think people should not follow me because I didn't have a very good school day. I'm coming from a very remote area from Gold District. I studied at St. Aloysius College. Born to a poor family, by the way. I have two sisters. They are both elders to me. During the school times, I was not known at all in the school. I liked to do a lot of sports, but because of the financial crisis issues, I couldn't afford to do any sports. But what did I do? I simply got it into a gang of 10 to 15 students. Spent most of my time on the beaches. Hikadua, Unawaturas, and so on. That's where I spent most of my time. But later on, I realized after crashing my A levels, during my first attempt, I crashed my A levels. So I thought, no, life is not a joke, not to have fun like that. It has to be a little serious. I just thought, even all the gangs, my friends, we decided that we don't meet for 1 year until we do this our second attempt in A levels. So we studied at home for 1 year, borrowing books and so on. Finally, I got the opportunity of getting into a university ranking. Unfortunately, because of the financial funding issues from the parents' point of view, I didn't have the chances of going to a university. I just thought of actually doing a job. So it was a bad experience during school times. But I think that's life experience which gave me what I want to achieve today. Actually, it was encouragement itself.
But maybe so, but you're right now next to Dr. Kohana and people like that, So tell us, after what happened?
Then I actually wanted to do a job to do on my own, to grow up my own. What happens is my sisters, both of them actually got into the government schools as teachers, so they were pushing me to get into the same role. Actually, my elder sister was really pushing me hard to go and start teaching. I said it's not going to work for me. But then I actually wanted to see the careers which I can progress in life. But I never thought, I didn't, nobody advised me otherwise to do what's to be done in terms of career. But only vision I had was to wear a tie and work in multinationals. But I thought at that time, the best thing what I should do is that to get into either hotel trade or sales. So as a first attempt, I got into Lanka Oberoi as a steward, actually, just after schools. I worked there as a steward for about 1 year, close to 1 year. As today, Lanka Oberoi is known as Cinnamon Grand. But later on, I realized it's not the job that keeps me going. Then thought, okay, I'll do my second attempt going into sales. So that's where I moved to the sales and marketing career.
What happened then?
Yes. All right. Okay. So then what happened was actually I just thought of, okay, when I got into the sales field, I thought, okay, this is the route. This is the right route that I have now come on to. There were nobody to advise me. But unfortunately, when doing sales, I had the opportunity of joining Rickett Benkies, as you know. Obviously, Dr. Wasantha, you can remember those good old times where I was a rep. You helped me quite a lot, and thank you very much for that as well. For grooming me, I used to study under you, maybe MBA, CIM, and various things, and also you put me into marketing. As a promotion. Those days it was very difficult to move from sales to marketing. It was very difficult because you had to have MBA qualifications. You had to have a very good vocabulary. I'm coming from Goal, without knowing a word of English. How do I go and do a excellent presentation at a stage? It's very difficult at that time. So I mean, I met a lot of good people, good leaders during my career. I think that's the success, and like you, I think there were many other people who were behind my success, who actually supported me to come to this level. But what is important is that all the people, including you, doctor, I'm not hesitant to say, you gave me difficult times, very difficult times. You raised the expectations very high. So we had to perform at that level. That's why we are here today. Nowadays, most of the people whom I had the opportunity of, I think I'm very lucky to have people like that who had high expectations. Their bar was very high. So they never expected mediocre performances. So we had to do something more than expected to grow up in the lives. So I think that's where that took me to where I am today. Yeah.
So I don't know whether you can remember, but when you were promoted as senior brand manager for Disprint, and you were the first to organize a global roadshow.
Yes, yes.
And you gave leadership to the whole world of Reckitt. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, actually, see, my achievements are actually nothing important for the students. What is important is what is the message the students get out of this. So taking the same example, what I wanted to do was that, again, the same thing what I just explained. I don't know, it was there in my DNA. I always wanted to do something very different because I wanted to keep my legacy I built. So during that time, I think with all your support, it was a world record, by the way, across the global Benki's countries. First time the Disprint brand was sold in government hospitals. No? Most distributed brand at that time, I think in 1998, we were second almost to Sunlight. We were the 7th most distributed brand in the country at that time, and so there were a lot of achievements. But what is important is that the message to the students who are joining here is that you always got to do something very different. Otherwise, you are not remembered for. You're not remembered for. Always, what I believe is that you need to build your own competitive advantage. Your own competitive advantage. How do you do that? Is you have to think of how to do that. So I think I've been very successful in doing that. And similarly, I did a lot of other things in my previous companies. For example, Land Brewery. 60% of the brewery, the bad business, by the way, metallic cans being used, introduced by me, based on some basic principle from the market. It's a very basic the insight which we picked. Today, it became a strategy and driving the company, into billions. So small things what we did, but actually based on the principles what I just spoken about, what you call market reality, or otherwise the brutal truth in the market.
So Wasantha, can you tell us a little bit about how you're managing, I think, ginger beer and that famous presentation you made to the board? And can you tell us about that and how you repositioned? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, actually at that time, this is the time during my period, we had the cream soda coming up as Yauvane Popina Chamatkarya, then EGB that were Kamaipa, the orange barley, bring back memories, and all those things were happening during my time. But thanks to Luxury, by the way, okay, Luxury was my manager or my boss at that time, was very creative enough. So I had the privilege of working with Luxury. I think I should remember his name here. So we had a very good team there, and also the creative advertising agencies were very much supportive. I think those platforms are still being used today. I recently heard the cream soda platform is going to be the same platform that we created at that time. EGB, EGB Network, no EGB, no food campaign is still going on. I think those are nice memories actually from my side, from Elephant House.
Wasantha, what do you see as the trends right now? I mean, since you have got such a fantastic grounding on sales, and then you moved to brands on Disprint, how you got promoted, then from there you went to Elephant House, you turned around brands there, and you have a very good understanding at the ground sense. So as we speak today with regard to the pandemic, what are the key trends you see, Wasantha, now?
See, as a company, I think people have now got adjusted to work with the current situation. It's not like our first wave. Second wave actually has given the real exposure for the people. They have understood that the life has to go on. Life has to go on. Most of the people who never wanted to work from home actually are now nicely working from home without any issue. So what happens is, from organizations point of view, also we see going forward, I don't see that there will be offices. It will be like the European countries where people work from home. That kind of a situation. We never expected this to happen maybe about 2 years ago, isn't it? But I'm sure within next 2 to 3 years time, you won't find physical offices where we pay huge amount of rent, for example, in for physical appearances, and so those things are not going to happen in the future. Best example is, I heard that Unilever, for example, has never met in office from last February. And so on. In our company, most of the people are still working, but only thing is, we initially had the difficulties of getting the people mindset working like this, because it's stressful to be at home, because we are not used to this level of working. And also, when you are having this kind of call, there are a lot of your children shout, a lot of disturbances. But slowly now I can see the trend where people are really getting used to this. So I think I'm seriously wondering whether we should have an office, a physical office, where we spend millions of money every year for their rent, air conditioners, power, and various other things. I think that money can be spent behind the health of the organization, meaning the engagement of the people. Now, for example, we have a virtual cup of tea to get the people engaged during these difficult times. Meaning they don't have anywhere to go out, speak to friends. And those are the issues that we find. Now, during that 1 hour that I speak to my people, during the virtual cup of tea, they are not supposed to talk about business. It's to talk about how they spend the day, whether they may have cooked something new, whether they have gone and done a new learning, whether it can be anything. Those are the things that they have to share during that meeting. Nothing about business. So things have changed, doctor. So I think this would be continued even you find a vaccine. Today I got a message, okay, there are some good things that's going to happen within next 1 year. You will find a solution, but your working style would I think would continue like this, because people see the benefits and even the employees see the benefits. Yeah.
So have you gone back to your school, St. Aloysius?
Not really, but I still I'm a member of the old school, but unfortunately I don't know many of them. But only thing is, now I am in a better position to approach them, because that time there were all the business tyrants like your own brother-in-law and so on. They were the tyrant business people in the world. If I go to OBA, maybe about 10 years ago, if I joined, I don't think that I stood a chance to even speak to them, because they were in a much higher position. I would have been, once tiny fellow among the giants. So now, of course, I'm slowly getting into the thing, because I think I have achieved what I wanted in my life.
Maybe you can go and paint the whole school now.
I can do that. Can do that. Yes.
So Wasantha, where do you go from now? I mean, you started your life on the field. You went to brands. You went to product group management. You went to business development. So now you are heading one of the top multinationals in Sri Lanka. So what's your next step?
Very important question. Thank you for raising this question. See, I look at two things. I look at two things in life going forward. One is that region. Akzo Nobel has identified, if I'm not boasting, by the way, very humbly I am saying, I've been identified as somebody to take over a regional position to run a cluster of countries, maybe about 5-6 countries, and I have to be based in Singapore. Unfortunately, they have offered me this position, but because of the other commitments, I can't physically move. As a company, Akzo Nobel, they want me to be present in Singapore physically with my family. They don't want me to see alone. Maybe that they know that I'm a mischievous man. I'm sure one day they will force me to come and take over that position, which I might consider maybe about in 2 years' time. So that's my next step going forward. Or otherwise, I might look at a much bigger position, much bigger company as a CEO. That can be my other option from career point of view. More than that, Rwanda, what I want is that to look at what you call. See, I'm now 50, doctor. I'm 50 plus now. I'm getting old now. Now it's a time to think about the other side of the life, which I'm actually spending a lot of time now. After reaching up to a certain level, now I'm looking at how should I keep the cognitive fitness going on? What am I doing about it? And also, how do I keep my physical fitness going on? That's the area that
so you must then come to APIT and teach. I think we need to immediately do that. But tell me something. Are you looking at a doctorate now?
Not right now, because I don't have any intention to go into academics. But I do a lot of lecturing, as you know, doctor. I do lecture MBA students and the CIM students, but also I take short sessions like this, but I read quite a lot. I read, you ask me anything, what happens in today's world, I am very well aware of this, but I have not thought of actually doing a doctorate.
So what do you think? Yeah. What do you think? Which vaccine suits Sri Lanka, Wasantha? Because you have a pharma background.
I can't say that. I can't see. Yeah, there are many. There are a couple of vaccines which are already ready to commercialize. I think AstraZeneca one would be the fastest to come to Sri Lanka, because we have the agent, the Sri Lankan sales office here in Sri Lanka. So therefore, we will have a high chance of getting this vaccine before anyone else coming into play.
So that's the one where the transport is at room temperature, right? Because I think because the Pfizer one is at minus 70 degrees, and so even
I'm talking about Pfizer one. I'm talking about the Pfizer one.
Oh, really? Yeah, the challenge
Pfizer is available in Sri Lanka.
Yeah, the Pfizer one, the problem is the distribution, Wasantha, because we were also looking at it from the rotary side on logistic, because you have to bring it at minus 70, keeping it at the IAR, so that's a challenge. So right now, and of course, you'll have to see what kind of implications that a vaccine will have in the long term, because normally vaccines takes 10 years to develop, and here you have developed a vaccine within 1 year. So there can be a lot of repercussions. So, what is your advice to young Wasantha who is 20 years old?
See, I think finally what I can tell them is that always they need to have a competitive advantage. Now, we are all academics. We have gone, I think at least most of your people, at least 90% of the people who are listening today may have followed what you call marketing, positioning, segmentation, targeting, positioning, and so on. But we all do that for the companies and the brands and so on. How many of us have actually thought of having positioning for yourself? If you don't have the positioning for yourself, you are getting lost, immediately lost in today's competitive environment. Therefore, you need to think of how to build this. When I was in sales, I wanted to have additional experience in marketing. so that I have additional, competitive advantage. When I went into marketing, I want to do MBA. That time MBA was done by the CEOs. So I want to always build a competitive advantage, and that is one success of mine. It is not only for 20 students, but for anybody. If you are living in this today's world, you have to have this the competitive advantage. The second thing is also that you should have the right intention. Either you like it or not, either you believe it or not. There is this universal principle. What you intend, if you intend to do a positive thing, the positive things will come back. I'm now becoming spiritual, doctor. If you do something negative, trying to do something bad for someone else, it will come back to you. So do whatever the things that you do have to be done in good intention. You can have a competitive advantage, not to kill somebody and get a position. It is not that I'm referring to. Your intention must be get promoted and do something better for the organization. It is not to cut your people and get into your position. That's the difference that I'm talking about.
I yet remember how one day, we keep in touch, quite often. And one day you said that you're going to buy a European car. And I yet remember, I couldn't understand, to be very honest with you, because to me, a car was a car. You know what I'm saying? So I just thought to myself, now what is a European car? And then only I remembered, okay, it was your Mercedes or a Volvo or a BMW. So, I like how you always aspired to get to the next level, but I also kind of admire you, how you said, okay, I like to go to Singapore, I like to take that position, but then I'm also looking at certain other bigger picture. So, I'm really proud of you, Wasantha, and sorry, I nearly cried when I was interviewing you. So let me hand over to Kaushal.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you so much. And you were really helpful, and during the last couple of days to get me on board. Actually, it's an opportunity that rarely somebody gets. Actually, very rarely somebody.
Kaushal, over to you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wasantha. Students, this is where we connect. It might be subjects, it might be modules, it might be these theoretical concepts that you really can't understand. But it all comes down to, at the end of the day, how can the other person make an impact in my life? How can I make an impact in someone else's life? And when you genuinely do that, the emotions cannot be hidden. And I think it's a wonderful platform today for us, even seeing the fact that emotions do take place because you're genuine, because you are dying for it, because you are passionate after that. So that expressions, that feeling of victory is something that I'm sure is, Mr. Wasantha, that you're enjoying right now in life, right? So with that, we have few questions that have come up. Let me, we have so many questions, but I'm trying to put them into few areas so that we can have a collaborative answer supporting everyone, right? So the very, very first, very interesting thing is that we've got questions lining up to your personality, then your concept, again confirming the fact that we connect as human beings. So the first question comes is, how did you overcome the fear of English as a person who actually came from far away to the town?
See, those days it was a challenge because I thought knowing English would sort out all your problems. But now I realize just learning a language is just a small skill. There are today people knowing maybe about a couple of languages, but this is a tiny thing that I have learned. But only thing is, I spend a lot of time to study the language. Spending most of my time, actually, I used to buy the paper Sunday Observer that time when I was schooling. Even after schooling, I think I still have the Malalasekara dictionary, which is dirty with all my, I keep this as, Uh, See, I used to read all the headlines and learn. Then finally, I also wanted to do CIM under Dr. Wasantha, not because actually I wanted to get through. Honestly, humbly, it was not to get through. It is to learn English, nothing else. Because this is where I had the opportunity of speaking to the people in English. It's the opportunity of listening to a lecturer who is giving me the things in the language that I was aspiring to learn. So that was the only option. So I think after that the things were all right. I did a lot of mistakes, even when doing company presentations during as a sales guy. I think there were a lot of people taking the advantage of making humor out of it. But everything was giving me the courage to learn the things. One day I realized, I just thought to myself, I will have the best in class vocabulary than anyone of them. I had that courage. So they are the people those who criticized about me, those who actually tried to trample me, are the people actually who helped me to achieve what I have achieved today. So they have helped me actually.
Wonderful. So another interesting area that few of our students would want to know is, how did you resolve your internal feeling that you don't fit into an urban life? When you were initially coming from far away, how did you make sure that I am going to fit into this culture, I'm going to get in there and I'm going to conquer it? So how did you overcome this, internal insecurity that you initially had when you embarked on this life?
See, it was very difficult. By the way, it was very difficult because it was a rural life that I had. Seeing the Colombo life was a real distance for me, to relate to them. The lifestyles were different, their eating habits are different, everything was different, the vocabularies are different. So it took a long time for me to get into this. Slowly, I think by the time I was fully equipped with everything what I wanted to do, I think I took about good 10 years to adjust to this level of life. I spent about good 10 years to build a solid foundation to build my career. Otherwise, actually, I would have grown much faster than this. So I think I wasted a lot of time there because of the inability of matching to what is required by the society. But today I'm very happy. I always remember my bad times, the difficult times, I would say. Recently, I did a very good presentation to Akzo Nobel CEOs around the world. So it was a physical presentation just before COVID. Took place in Singapore. There were a lot of questions like that. That's the best panel that I ever seen. Where after presenting the things, people applauded and they all said it was well done and so on, without boasting again. But when I came and sat on my chair, I remembered about my school times, my difficult times, and so on. So I'm very happy how I have overcome all that. And so finally, those are all life learnings, I shouldn't be emotional on this now.
Yes. So talking about the emotional factor, being a leader who is taking a lot of responsibilities, who is supporting the colleagues and the peers, when you feel sad internally, how would you manage it now? As a leader, as a person who would want to manage emotions? And how can a young adult or a young undergraduate or a postgraduate can learn from you how to do that?
See, being emotional is not wrong. I don't say it's wrong. I think that all humans actually will have this emotional side of the story, which I think is very important for anybody. Otherwise, you will become like a machinery. You look seems to be a machinery. But right person will have a nice combination of both, where you should be able to understand the psyche of the other person. That's called empathy. If you can't empathize with someone else, you don't know how to do that. Because my background has been so so that I can relate to anybody now, from the person who is at the ground level to somebody at the pinnacle of life. I can relate to those people. But what happens even in the organizations, when you lead with a bigger team, sometimes you will have to face emotional challenges. But in a situation like that, you have to work on a principle. What is the principle? It is not the principle of trying to satisfy him, doing the right thing. It may be a wrong thing, it may be a sad thing to do, but principally it has to be done. For example, you want to send a couple of people home, let's say, which is a bad thing to do, which is very emotional things to do, but principally, as a leader, you have to take that decision. Finally, you take the decision and try to help that person finding a job, getting him and give some career guidance, what's to be done, and you might have a chance, have an opportunity, where you can get a better relationship with those people by doing that. I think those are the opportunities that you should never miss. People who are emotional are good leaders, I think.
Wonderful. So coming into the last question before we move on to our chairman. So I have the last question. This is from me. I see a lot of grit in you. How do you develop this grit in you?
Yeah, I think it's the way that I have lived. It's the difficulties that I have gone through. Because you may have seen all the successful people today have gone through difficult lifestyles. Even the global biographies, when you read the most successful people today in the world, you would see they haven't had good times in the past. Because of that vacuum, it drives you. It helps you to grow. Because if you just keep as it is without doing anything, you are not going to achieve something in your life. So therefore, I think this gap in the life which I faced during the school times was the real grit that helped me to be what I am today.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Chairman, we await your question and your feedback and then your thoughts to share.
First of all, Wasantha, congratulations for your explanation, but I overheard few things that, something strike to me. My last question would be like this. Your journey is wonderful, looking at your career, but what I'm to ask you is, everyone's journey is not that you are today here. It depends on how much of kilometers you have run, right? That is, you call sense of achievement. So looking at you and your career and the way that you express that you have the highest achievement in your life, like within particularly. So I'm asking one simple question. Hardship to the status that you are enjoying today, what sort of the clear message that you are going to tell our students finally, irrespective of your footing, irrespective of hardship, if you have ambition, how do you plan yourself to go there? So you explain everything in bits and pieces, but in a very within very short sentence, that how do you say that? Because students want to go there. Some of the students are not all the elite people. Some of the students are not down people. They have the cross section of people they are listening. All their ambition is to like you to cross the bridge. So I want you to, as a senior man, to express to our students what is the inspirational thing that you need to follow. It's a long question, but very simple thing that you can say, because you are lived with that.
Okay, Chairman. I think one simple question that all the students have to ask by themselves is that, what do you want to achieve in my life? If you ask about yourself, what do you want to achieve? How many students would say, I want to be so and so, I want to be, I want to achieve this and that. Very few students might say, okay, I want to be like that. But even at least 50% of the students might say, I can guarantee you most of the students would say, okay, I want to be the head of marketing. I want to be the chairman of the company. Otherwise, I want to be, they will say, okay, I want to achieve something like that. At least 50% of the people. But unfortunately, how many of the students would spend some time in achieving that? For example, you can't just become a marketing manager. You need to have a roadmap. Have you drawn that roadmap? Is the question. Do you have the right ability? Have you acquired the real competencies? Those are the questions that you need to ask yourself. Otherwise, you become a daydreamer. 50% of the people will not have a dream at all. Other people will have about dreaming only without doing anything about it. That's my problem. Most of the students always wants to be the chairman of the company, managing director of the company, but it's dreams. Those dreams have to come true. How? There has to be a roadmap. People have to think through that roadmap. Is it the qualification? Is the type of companies that you should work? Is it the type of the leaders that you should work? If you are working for a wrong company, which is not in line with what you want to achieve in your career, you got to move. If you are working with a wrong person, it's no point wasting your time. Fortunately, I had all these opportunities. I actually had a plan. Every year I had a plan. Even for next 10 years, I know what's to be done, what's to be achieved. Do you have a plan like that? Is a question that I should ask for my students there.
Fantastic answer. You are saying that, plan yourself. in other words, plan yourself. Wasantha, I take this opportunity to thank you very much for being with us. Before I wind you up from that and from by Rohantha and the Kaushali. Really, a whole objective was to give the real interaction with the leaders of this country, the CEOs of the country, then their journey, for them to understand life is how difficult, life is how good, or life is how bad. So through all mix of experiences certainly enhance their knowledge. So I think Dr. Rohantha, along with you all, are doing a fantastic job to learn our MBA students, especially all the students, the population, to get that experience from you all, people like you all. So please continue to do this sort of a thing, because you are doing a great job for the society, not only for APIT. So teach or share whatever valuable experience with the next generation of our country. So it's our job, it's your job, it's everyone's job. So thank you very much for being with us. Rohantha and Kaushali, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman.
So, Mr. Wasantha, yes, Dr. Rohantha, anything to be added?
No, thank you very much. And we like you to be part of this whole learning experience, Wasantha. And it was a fantastic hour that we spent understanding your journey and being an example to kids. So we are going to take you on to be part of our team. Huh? Thank you.
Thanks, Doctor. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. Thanks, APIT team there. Thanks, Chairman, and also the students. Thank you so much. Good night.
Thank you very much. That brings us to the end of the program, and we will meet back again in another webinar. Mr. Wasantha, thanks a lot. We will try to meet you back again. With that, good night, everyone.